I'm loving the look right now, Bryson.
Right? I got it.
Tell me about. Oh, me too.
There we go.
I've got the shorts on.
Shorts. That should be a good cut.
Hey guys, I'm Ceci.
Hey, I'm Bryson.
And this is
What the Why?
I'm excited for this episode. I'm kind of nervous, but I hope it goes well.
No, this is going to be such an awesome episode. I feel like this is a perfect speaker to come in, or perfect guest to come in on our episode. And there's so many different synergies as we're talking about corporate.
We've got the synergy. Yeah, there's a lot of alignment that we can make in this next meeting. So I'm looking forward to seeing our results and our ROI from this type of episode. So make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe, like, comment, and let us know what you think.
Yes, like, comment, subscribe, circle back to that subscription button, smash it a couple times, and
for
really get in
for
there.
our corporate bros and corporate girlies, you'll definitely want to stay tuned because we have a really exciting guest.
Very, very special guest. Way more special than what we're wearing today, which is different. So you guys are going to love it. From her time in the corporate world to moving away from corporate to now being a 1 million+ subscribed, insane, amazing guest speaker, CorporateNatalie. You might know her from all of her corporate talks on TikTok and Insta, all the way to our favorite, Duncan. Introducing
Corporate Natalie.
I have to do this. I see you guys have titles too. The corporate guy. Should I add a title? What's going on here?
Right. I think we should promote Natalie.
Oh, vice president of What the Why. I love that.
We've promoted you.
And what the hell is What the Why? Can I ask before we get into this?
Bryson, I'm gonna let you take this one.
Yeah, you're gonna let me take the lead. All right, perfect. I guess we won't circle back on that for now. So. The What the Why is, honestly, we thought the same thing. We said, what the hell is the why behind your finances? And that's really where What the Why started, right? Everyone on every single platform, like when we were growing up, there was never really a financial conversation of like, why am I saving for retirement? Why am I working a 9 to 5 endlessly and hitting my life 5 days a week? And why am I doing any of this? So we're like, well, what is the why? And that's where What the Why was coined, check and mark. So that's a little bit around What the Why.
Let me just like wipe the tear away.
And I think that's the reason why we asked you to come on the podcast, was just to learn about like your why. And like you had started as a corporate person, like you weren't corporate Natalie, you were Natalie, before you hit fame. So can you tell us about like that jump or that turning point for you from when you started, in corporate and then turned over to corporate Natalie?
Definitely. So I was always like someone who wanted to climb the corporate ladder. Like I loved my job. Out of college, I was working at Deloitte as a consultant, traveling across the country. I was so excited to become partner, get the next promotion. I was very like motivated by that. And so the content translated quite easily when I first started making videos during the pandemic of like this whole work from home nightmare we were all in. And I think it was so easy for me because I was so deep in this like lingo filled consulting world of just like travel and circling back and all this like BS that honestly consultants do. I was just in the thick of it. And, I never viewed content creation as like a career. I definitely judged it. I was like, you do dances on TikTok, like get a real job.
That's me.
Office.
I'm like, nope. Yeah.
No, right. And I thought that, and I was like, maybe I'll be an entrepreneur. I'll start a business. Like that's something that I grew up in Silicon Valley. I've always been exposed to, but like being a content creator is still cringe to me. Like, what do you mean? That's so lame. Like I have friends who are like, how are you making ends meet? And I think when I realized that it's actually like a lucrative career and you can build a business off of it and, make good money and do things that I would have never done in my corporate job, like be in commercials and on sets and get into acting and all these exciting things and doors that open, I just kind of ran with it and absolutely loved every part of it.
Amazing.
No, that's awesome.
I love that you recognize that, because I think that's something that we can relate with, is like we are still in this like corporate 9 to 5 grind. Like Bryson and I are still in meetings all day, and then we're doing this on the side. So it's kind of like great to to see it from your perspective, and then also tie it back to like our journey and like trying to get people to listen to our content about freaking finances. Like, who cares, you know, what the why. So I think your perspective and your experience in that is really inspiring for us, just because like we're right in like at a turning point almost of like trying to figure that out for us. That's why we've hired you as the vice president of What the Why, so you
I'm
can.
so honored. I mean, I think it's interesting what you guys are doing, and a lot of companies offering these like opportunities to do something outside of your day to day. That's like this creative outlet that you can try out being hosts of a podcast and seeing if you like it and seeing if you want to like make it a side hustle outside of work. Sorry if you're listening, banking, but like, you know, you're getting the opportunity. Companies are encouraging you to do these things and make like employee generated content, like post your day in the life working at Go, all these things. So I think that's like a new shift we're seeing in the workplace. That's really exciting.
Yeah, and you know, speaking of corporate, I want to circle back to something you just said. You were in San Francisco during, as she laughs off the side of the camera.
I mean,
you were in.
God, every time you say
Circling back.
we'll be
What's
hammered.
our
guys-
North Star? We got to go
you
back
guys
to our
aren't-
North Star.
You guys aren't already taking a shot. This looks like a coffee mug, but it's actually just filled with straight vodka. I thought that was like the agreed T's and C's before we started.
Totally.
But so going back, you mentioned you were in San Francisco like during the pandemic. I was in Arizona. That's where I was originally from. So like the pandemic wasn't a thing. Like we were shut down for like a week. We were all work remote, and everyone's like, "Oh, back in office. Everything's back open. Have fun." San Francisco is very, very, very different. So I'm curious how it was with you in San Francisco, and you know, going from consulting to kind of doing the remote, and then taking a stab at TikTok. Like, kind of how that progressed. We'd love to get your feedback on that and really, you know, cross our T's and dot our I's.
I think it's because we were all trying to make content. And like, I was rollerblading. Like, what business do I have rollerblading doing? Like, why did I? Why?
I think
So, like,
to tie in
yeah.
the San Francisco element of it, like it did feel it felt like that was the only option. Like San Francisco was so on lockdown. You would walk through the financial district and it was like a ghost town. Like nothing was opening back up. It was like very just, I mean, that was everywhere, but I think SF particularly was quite dark. And so we were all just in our houses, afraid, like as many of us were. But I think I took to TikTok as that outlet to be like, you know, what else do I have here? And like you're rollerblading, like I just decided I've always done comedy,
Girl,
and, like improv
why
comedy.
was-
Yeah, I love rollerblading, cooking. Like we all made my like sourdough. I'll say like everyone was making sourdough bread. Like my sourdough was TikTok videos. So it was fun. And I've always done comedy. It wasn't like a total reach. A lot of people I think with content creation now are like, I want to get into content. Like I'm so nervous. I don't know what to do. It's like, it did come kind of naturally to me. I wasn't like sitting there like, oh my God, with my ring light staring back at me. Like, what do I do? Like I definitely had it in me and I was comfortable and I think really confident to just like post myself and not worry about the judgment. And I think that's what I encourage everyone to do with content now is like, just post. No one's going to see the first 50. Who cares? You know, then one takes off and you're the next Alex Earl.
That's how I felt when we first recorded this, honestly. I was like, why am I posting my face on Go Banking Rates? And do I have to create my own Instagram? Do I have to create my own TikTok? But I think that this is like a really good takeaway, especially for people who are trying to make, like, that's the point of this episode is like side hustles, like making extra money on the side while you're working your corporate 9 to 5. I think Natalie had some really, really good points in there. You know, just put yourself out there. It's not as mentally taxing as you think.
If you're really nervous and you don't like filming yourself and that seems like an incredibly daunting task, like try LinkedIn, try making a long form post about your job. Start there. You do your job 40 to 50 plus hours a week. Like that's your bread and butter. You know that space. Like start as a LinkedIn creator and it's like low stakes. Who cares? You have your 500 plus connections, whatever. But like that gets you in the mindset of like making content in a different way.
That actually brings up another great point because I was reading, there was an interview with you on Adobe and you were mentioning, you know, you were a consultant for Deloitte. And I mean, you even said in this, you were working like, I mean, I didn't even know how someone could like 70, 80 hours a week, like just nonstop working, trying to climb that corporate ladder. What was that pivoting moment? Like you said, like the first 50 videos, no one's going to see them. I still hope people don't see my TikTok videos. I don't even know if they're even still alive, but hope to God I don't get famous enough for that to come up. But what was that pivoting moment for you where you're like, I can actually make a career out of this? Like I can stop working that 9 to 5, or for you, the 6 to 7 or whatever hours you were working.
Yeah, I think it became just, it was too much. Like I always viewed it as a side hustle, and I like really took pride in that. I was like, this is my side thing. If it ever goes away, it's fine because I have my full-time job and that's what I do. And then it reached this like kind of turning point where I actually got asked to be in a series of commercials with Paycom, this company. And I'd never been on set with like real cameras and a whole crew and an art department and makeup and all this stuff that I was like, I'm just used to being in my bedroom. And I remember they were asking me all these questions before I flew out to Kansas City for this shoot about like my room, my bedroom, like what, furniture was in it. And all, I'm like, why are they asking me that? Whatever. And I show up to set and they've recreated my entire bedroom. Like my San Francisco apartment is rebuilt on set. It looks exactly the same. It has my robe hanging, like every single detail they had taken from my videos and the information I gave them, and rebuilt it. And I walk onto set and they're like, talent's flying in, talent's flying in. I'm like, who's the talent? Like, what do you mean? What's happening? It was me. And I was exposed to this like whole new world of like, okay, wow, this is the big leagues. Like I've made it, I'm gonna be on TV. And I remember being at a bar with my friends and one of my commercials played and they all started cheering. And I was like, I was crying. I was like, this is so crazy. Like who knew making TikToks could become this? So that was kind of a moment. I think when I went to, after I did those commercials, I very shortly after quit my full-time job and became full-time.
I almost wish that, like, at the bar, you were writing your email and saying, I'm leaving this job now, and goodbye.
Yeah, so Delulu. No, it took a lot of
That's awesome. And so you mentioned, like, your commercials. What was your favorite commercial? Because I saw the Dunkin' one. That was probably my favorite. I loved how you just, like, took form and you were jumped into that meeting. And
so after I did the Paycom commercials, and then most recently, like a few months ago, I did these Dunkin' Donut spots with Will Arnett. Benny Blanco was in it. It was like a crazy cast of people, and we played, like, it was a Dunkin' Turns is their whole like summer push, and Will and I were like the supervisors for the Dunkin' Turns. And I just like get to set and I'm like, am I really like doing an entirely improv commercial shoot next to Will Arnett, this like actual comedy legend? Like, what is happening? It was such a pinch me moment. I got a trailer. I don't know if you guys saw it on my channels, but they literally gave me a full trailer. I'm like, what are Annie and I supposed to do in this trailer? We're like pretending Will's got his Will's got like having a full on party in his trailer. Annie and I are just sitting silently, like waiting for someone to come, like, give us a car, like, what's going on?
That would be me. That would be
God.
me, Annie, and Natalie. Bryson, you would have the party in your trailer. I feel like that would be the vibe.
I'd be in Will's trailer. I'd be like, yeah, I'm famous too. We have like 300 followers. Boom, crazy.
100%. I was like, I can't even pretend to know what to do with this trailer.
That's incredible. Are you yourself on camera as you are like off camera? Do you feel like you have to kind of like put on more, especially like now that you're an influencer?
Yeah, I mean, so I think I'm definitely myself. I'm very extroverted. I would identify as like the middler of the table. If you watch Curb, like I love to tell the stories and be just like life of the party. I'm very extroverted. So it's not that different when it comes to content creation. I think actually a lot of content creators are a bit more shy and like prefer to be alone, and like filming themselves is super easy. Like I actually don't enjoy like being alone. It kind of feels isolating. So that stuff comes like very naturally, and I am like definitely myself. I think in terms of like being a creator and having more eyes on me, as you're mentioning, I think I do have this, I'm a bit plagued by being always on. I think even when I'm like going through a walk in my neighborhood, if like someone recognizes me and I'm just having a bad day, it's like, because I'm this person in their life that they watch every day, I do want to like put on my best self and be, so bubbly and excited and funny and like all these things that I think takes a little extra effort on my end. And it's still such an honor to meet people. I'm not complaining about that. I just do think I'm aware constantly of like my presence in every setting outside of my house, of course.
Sometimes that luteal phase, it hits you and you're like, I don't want to, no, that's not for me. Bryson, you don't know what the luteal phase is, but
I have no idea.
That's okay. We'll do like a different podcast episode about luteal phase and finances, but yeah,
it's
I totally
a strong connection. Yeah.
Yes. Amazing. Okay. Bryson, did you have any other questions for Natalie?
One of the things that you just mentioned was you're walking and you kind of like, oh, I'm not in the mood, but now I got to be in the mood. And one thing that like really resonated me from this is you like have a very, very strict calendar. Like I'm going to do this day. And then I have like my free time day. So that's not really related to finances, but like what is your go-to free time thing? Ceci, obviously rollerblades. I fall down mountains. What's your go-to? What's your fave thing when you're not in the spotlight?
Yes. I do have a very strict content calendar. I could totally get into that. Like I only film 2 days a week and my calendar is always like 1 to 2 weeks ahead. So I don't feel, I have content creator friends who wake up and they're like, oh my God, I have to make content today. I'm so stressed. And like my video's already gone live at like 4 a.m. But I always have something on the channel. So that helps me be sane. I think if I had to wake up and film myself and I was more of a lifestyle creator, like day in my life every day, to film the day in the life videos is exhausting. Like it's not natural for me to like film every moment. It's just, it will never be natural. And so that's one thing that I pride myself on is my like, only filming 2 days a week, having the separation. But what I do in my free time, I love a good workout class. I'm such a basic like, I go to Pilates. I go to Barry's sometimes. I love spending too much money on food and nice restaurants. I love shopping. Like I am so basic. It hurts. I wish. These videos of,
Hey, you know what? Being
like,
basic is amazing.
I love
like that's
like,
don't hate
like,
on the
hobbies. And the girl's like, what do you mean? I don't have any hobbies. I just
I love to eat and work out and sleep and maybe watch Bridgerton. Going back to spending money on food, is that like your biggest financial like bucket? Do you feel like you spend the most amount of money on food with like your CorporateNatalie budget?
Well, right now I spend the most money on going to my friends' engagements and weddings and bridal showers,
yes.
bachelorettes. So right now, literally half my income goes to supporting my best friends in every small moment of their life that I'm so happy about. That's probably where the majority of my money goes. But food, I always love like splurging on food.
San Francisco food, you can't go wrong. It's so good. I'm
like, what if this is
tier.
the last time I'll come here? I have to try all the appetizers, right? Like just take a little bite.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to the Bachelor and Bachelorette. That I just got back from one in Tahoe and I have 4 this year, already like 3 or 4 next year, and I'm like, oh, I love all you guys, but like, can you stop? Can you like stop being adults now and getting married? Because like it's so much money.
No, totally. And then you get back and you have like 1 brain cell left on Monday because you're like, I just partied so hard for the bride. Shots fired. I'm so happy to celebrate you. I am so hungover. Help. So it's great. It's lovely. It's fun. I'll miss this phase when I have kids and I'm miserable, probably. Who knows?
Yeah, no, right there with you. I'll be like going through like now we have social media too, because I feel like now I always get like my Snapchat memories, and I'm like, what? I did that, and then I'm like, I can't even like be in bed if I'm not in bed by like 10 p.m. on a weekday. I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm like, I was out till 3, and then I work the next day. Like, how could I even do that?
I go out every Thursday. I literally, my early 20s, would go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Like I was a total party animal. And now going out 1 night a week is like, well, my whole next week's ruined. So
Things that happen in your 30s, guys.
I know. I'm only 27, but I'm still experiencing
it. Oh my gosh. You look great. I'm in my 30s, so I feel that to my core. It's a lot to get me out, and it's too much.
Yeah, no, I'm right on the cusp. I'm at 29, and I'm just like, I'm knocking on that door. I'm like, oh, please, when's the arthritis going to kick in? Do I sign up for AARP now or later? Like, when does Medicare kick in for me? What's a 401k again? So yeah, all the fun
You're
stuff.
supposed to know all that stuff, though. Like,
no, we don't.
No,
that's what. Hey, that's why we made this. It's all about the why behind it. Why are you doing this? So.
And what is the best piece of financial advice? Have you ever gotten financial advice, like especially transitioning from corporate to CorporateNatalie?
Definitely. I think just women especially are very like nervous and hesitant about investing. I think we just aren't taught that. And there's a lot of amazing creators who try to like teach financial literacy to women specifically. I think her first 100K is awesome. Vivian too, both really good friends. And just like the biggest learning, obviously, like your money sitting in your checking account is basically like shoving it under your pillow. Like it's doing nothing, it's not growing, and you can actually be making money in your sleep by investing it. I know that's so dumb, and so like everyone knows it, like, but everyone doesn't know it really. And I think it takes effort to like build in the systems to transfer money consistently into that, investment account. And that's just the biggest thing I've learned is like, don't keep a giant sum in your checking account. It's silly.
And that's why you're the VP of What the Why, because you just nailed it on the head on why we created this. You just got your next promotion. You're probably like, no, I don't want to go back into corporate. You're not promoting me. Natalie, we were talking about all these bachelorette parties, going crazy for a couple nights and then hating yourself the entire next month. But one big question is, how do you budget that, right? From like a content creator standpoint, now that you're a big wig, not in the corporate world, how are you budgeting for that, on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month, 2-week out basis like you already do?
Definitely. So the bachelorette party and like this, I want to say one thing to anyone listening. If you are not in a financial place and you feel uncomfortable spending the money that it takes to get to Nashville, Cabo, XYZ place, and I think you have every right to tell your friend, and a good friend will understand that. So always be okay having those tough conversations, saying no, skipping the ones that you have to skip. I think that's fully allowed. I think as women especially, we don't want to let our friends down, and just know that it's okay. And no is essential.
You got to be there for the girls. You feel the pressure. There's like a lot of pressure.
And you find other ways. You bring them out to dinner. You can do something else.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes like $2,000 for a weekend is a lot. So I understand that. I want to preface with that. But how I kind of save as a content creator in general, and this is a tip I would have for other aspiring content creators, is that you get these big checks for doing these brand deals. It's so exciting. It's fun. You think you're making all this money. One big tip I have is to make a separate bank account for your taxes. So every check I get, I put 50% of it into that, and I never look at that account. That account is dead to me. I do not have that money. So when I get a big paycheck and I'm excited and I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to buy everyone shots when we're in Cabo on the Bachelorette, I actually have to think, no, that's not the case. Be very careful about the money that's coming in and separate it. And I also think one more tip is get a really good accountant. I invest a lot of money in my tax team. They're incredible, and they're able to sit down with me and look at my travel schedule for the month and really look at like, what is a business expense? Are you filming on this trip? I always make sure to film content on every trip I go on to have a small piece of it be a business expense, and that helps you save in taxes later. So looking at it from that way, obviously I don't want to monetize my friends. That's not what I'm saying, but just trying to save for myself as a creator when I'm doing all this travel. That's one tip I have.
And Ceci, I think you had another question too, right?
Yes, I did. So as a successful woman who just hit 1 million followers, what's the next big thing for you? Like, do you have any goals? Do you have any roadmap items that you want to consider for the future?
Definitely. I mean, I never try to base my success off the number of followers I have. I think you really can't control that. I think when you try to get too prescriptive, it plagues you. So while that was an incredibly exciting milestone, I'm not like, okay, now it's 2 million. Like, let's get to the next thing. I think in my career, my goal right now is to get a little bit more into like film and television. I kind of caught the bug at this Dunkin' Donuts commercial shoot.
It was the trailer. The trailer got you.
What?
The trailer, the backstage trailer got you. You were like, yes.
Trailer.
Yeah.
More of this, precisely. And I actually, very exciting, signed with an agent for film and television. It was Will Arnett's agent, came up to me at the shoot and was like, you're awesome. We'd love to work with you. And I've always been very anti-agents, managers, but this is specifically for film and television, which I know absolutely nothing about. So been excited. I've been doing some like audition tapes and filming myself in front of a white wall, just like getting into character, and it's a totally new thing and it's quite exciting. So that's the short-term goal. I have a ton of long-term goals. What you don't think like about content creators is like, I have whiteboarding sessions. I sit with Annie. We get a WeWork every quarter and we're talking about like what's next, what brand partnerships, who do we want to pitch? And so it is corporate a little bit in nature. I think people think it's so far removed, but as corporate,
you're using those skills.
Yeah, I try to use the business. You got to view it as that. So yeah, it's fun.
Okay, let's do some broke ass questions. So at the end of our episode, Natalie, we do a segment where we just like ask a bunch of broke ass questions that people submit. I think this is a really, really good one to ask. For this first one, what is your biggest financial ick?
Like, what's my biggest financial ick?
Yes.
I mean, taxes. I think we can we could probably all agree that's a big ick for everyone. But yeah, I don't know if there's like something day to day that you're just like, I can't believe I have to spend this money, but like I have to have the lifestyle that I want, to continue being a content creator. Like, I don't know if there's anything there financially where you're like, I really hate that I'm doing this right now.
I definitely get caught up in like wanting a designer bag, for example. I think it's just hard not to when you see this happening and you're like, I technically could afford it, but also I should probably invest that money and not buy a bag that's going to turn to absolute in a few months. So I've definitely been swindled by getting a couple designer items that I'm like, why did I get that? I don't know if that's a financial ick. That's more just an ick about myself.
It's your what the why. It's your why.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, that's
what
fair.
the why did I buy that? You know?
Yeah.
No, why did I do that? Bottega
Right.
small little bag. You don't need that. You can't fit anything in it. Why'd I get that? I don't know.
It's cute.
But it's there.
It's for the
No.
girls.
We always talk about Lulu. That's like our biggest like spender, is just going to Lulu and you're like, oh, it's the sale rack. Oh, it's like $5 off. That's fine. It's still like $300 for a pair of pants. But you're like, but it's $5 off.
But you need the Lulu leggings because everything else
Yes.
sucks. So like, of course.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Natalie, I hope that next time we talk to you, you will be going on your bachelorette party with all your friends now chipping in for those things. But thank you so much for joining us. I'm so inspired by this conversation. Bryson, are you ready to start our 5 to 9 outside our 9 to 5?
Oh yeah.
And
I'm gonna go
Let's
famous
rally.
after this. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be great. And no, thank you, Natalie, for the time and becoming our VP of What the Why for this very short period. And yes, for all of our followers out there, make sure, if you don't already, like, subscribe. We're gonna have more great videos like this. And if you haven't seen CorporateNatalie, you're living under a rock. And if you have and you haven't followed her, make sure to give her a follow. It's just CorporateNatalie, right? All of your social tags for the most part.
Yeah. CorporateNatalie, shoot me a follow, smash
Give
that
her 2
subscribe button.
million.
Yeah.
Give her 2 million followers ASAP.
Yeah, we will twerk for subscriptions. I always say that at the end of my podcast, demoted with my co-host. Like, we will twerk if you smash that subscribe button. So,
Maybe we have to start doing that. I don't know if they would like to see me. I'm wearing shorts, you know. I look like corporate,
Shorts
but
too. We're both like, should we stand up?
game to get it's tough. It's a whole new beast. But good luck. Thank you for having me on the podcast. You guys are awesome hosts. This is really fun.
I don't know about you, Ceci, but I was like starstruck. I was like, oh my God, like this famous person is talking to us. Like
Please tell
actually
me-
talking to us.
Please tell me why I was nervous that whole time. I felt like I was on a first date with Corporate
Yeah.
Natalie. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
yeah. I was like,
And-
I wanted to like bring up the weather because that's like my first nervous thing. I'm like, so how's that weather, huh? It's really cool.
Tell me about the city you live in. Like, how
Yeah.
long have you lived there? What I loved about that episode is that she's a straight shooter. She knows what she wants. She has a really great perspective on life, and just like her overall aura is
Yeah.
so, it like radiates through the screens that it feels like I'm sitting with her in her
Yeah.
bedroom, like talking to her, which is,
Yeah.
you know, like a really
No, it
great...
was awesome. What was your biggest takeaway? Because for me, it was the, because us, obviously we get taxes taken out of our, since we're W-2 employees, but she can't do that. Like that was my biggest takeaway, that she was like, to have a separate bank account
Love it.
and take X% of your income and just put it right there. Just pretend it's not there to pay for taxes at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think that was a great take. And for me, it was the salary part. She didn't talk about how much she was making. Knowing that she was able to sustain like her San Francisco lifestyle, I think getting to see that that side of her, of understanding like how she navigated like leaving corporate and now jumping into like her corporate Natalie personality. It just goes to show like we should really be setting ourselves up for those side hustles. I hate saying that because I feel like corporate should be kind of like one and done. Like we're working here 9 to 5, but at the same time, like, hey, like I think people should be considering those things outside of like the corporate 9 to 5 as well. So she has some really good tips for people who are trying to cross over from corporate to content creation.
Yeah, and I love that. I think that's another great point. Like, not only did she find another side hustle that she ended up doing full time now, but she did something that she loved. And I think that's such a huge thing. Like, a lot of people, like, yes, there's times I love my job. There's times I'm like, why am I waking up and doing this? But at the end of the day, she now found her side hustle that she thoroughly enjoys, and she's making money off of it. So I think that's like almost like a passion project. Like, find out what you're good at, what you enjoy, and just start building it on the side. You had your 9 to 5, now it's your 5 to 9.
Thanks for your time,
thank
Bryson.
you.
I appreciate
really
it.
appreciate the time, Ceci. We'll be in touch. We'll definitely send a recap of everything we discussed in email. We'll go ahead and take this conversation offline for any other updates, and then we'll rock through the TNCs if that works for you.
Yeah. Amazing. I'll give you your time back, 15 minutes.
Perfect. Yeah, that sounds
Perfect.
great. I can go to the bathroom. So thank you
Great.
so much for
See
15
ya.
minutes back. Awesome. All right, we'll see you guys. Mom, are the Tostino rolls ready? I'm really hungry.